Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News and welcome to my ultimate guide to security tokens video. In this video I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons I believe security tokens are going to improve the way securities are issued and traded around the globe, as well as 50 projects that are well positioned to capture market share as this emerging industry grows. So to start off with, let's go over some of the basics. A lot of people are still confused about the difference between a cryptocurrency, which is a digital way to transfer value between two parties, versus a utility token, which has a specific purpose or utility, part of an online platform, versus a security token, which is legally your ownership of a fraction of a company or asset. Now, I've done more detailed videos on this, guys, if you need more information. Now, most people are pretty familiar with this idea of owning shares in a company on the stock market, but it's these more unique applications of this technology which are exciting me most. Things like fractionalizing ownership of assets, whether that be commodities, real estate, artwork, even bond and debt markets are now being spoken about, but there's some very specific use cases I want to touch on at the end of this video, which I believe are showing a lot of promise. The next thing I want to talk about is regulation, and this is very specific to where you're based or who you are trying to sell securities to. Some countries are saying that our existing laws are good enough for the time being. Others are adapting and bringing out changes to try and suit the security token and blockchain space. Some countries are bringing out new laws altogether and really embracing this technology, and we're already seeing some of the innovation and startup move to those locations. So depending on what jurisdiction you're in and what specific part of this industry you're trying to disrupt, you will need the appropriate licenses and applications for things like broker dealing, raising money, issuing securities, financial services, banking, wealth management, and custody of these assets. Now, you can apply for these licenses and that can take a long time and be very expensive. Or what we're starting to see now is mergers and acquisitions, where these companies are partnering with each other or buying out other companies that already have the appropriate licenses to speed up this process. So let's get into the top 10 reasons I believe security tokens can improve the way securities are issued and traded around the world. Number one is cost. It can cost well over $1 million these days to get a startup legally compliant and traded on stock markets. It's also very timely, and anything that improves this process is going to be very attractive. Number two, better alignment between the project and their investors. We hear these stories of people with great ideas really having to bend the knee and bow to the demands of these venture capitalists before they will fund them. So the idea that we can only have investors from around the globe invest that are true to our idea is a very powerful concept. Number three is fairer raising, trading, and unlocking of funds. Imagine if we only allow that company to use that money that we've invested if they reach certain milestones by certain dates. Number four is community focused. Along with the transparency of blockchain, having these extra features allows for things like voting or these DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, where the people that hold the tokens can have a say in the future direction of that company. Number five is fractionalizing ownership, and the idea that an asset, no matter how great or small, can be broken into specific pieces can give investors more diversity and better exposure in their portfolio to assets that would otherwise not have been possible. Number six is liquidity, and this could be an entire video on itself. It's a very powerful concept that an investor in any country in the world can get exposure to an asset in any other country around the world. No matter how great or small, being able to get access to something that is easily tradable greatly increases the liquidity. Number seven is settlement time. Now, if you have an overseas trading account, you'll know that there's this T+2 rule where it takes 2 days to get settled in that country, but then trying to get that money back overseas or across a border can take upwards of 2 weeks. So the idea that you'll be able to sell shares and get that money within a 24-hour period instead of 2 weeks is very powerful. Number eight is price discovery. Rather than these utility tokens or currencies that are very hard to value, we now have businesses that are going to have expenses and cash flow, and we can start to use the traditional methods to value these companies, profit and earnings and so on. Number 9 is features, and we're already seeing the good companies come out with standards, whether that's on the Ethereum protocol or producing their own, All these feature sets that they can add to these tokens are going to help not only the investors, but the regulators as well. Number 10 is new derivatives and instruments. This is going to happen in a far more transparent manner than the current derivatives system we have on Wall Street. And as I've spoken about, there is so many asset classes that are previously unable to become securities that now can because of the properties of blockchain technology. Without further ado, let's jump in and look at the projects that are involved in this issuance process, the deal flow, legal and compliance, the trading and exchange, the custody of funds, and then I'm going to look at projects that are involved in the underlying infrastructure or protocols. So we've got Polymath, Ravencoin, Swarm, Harbor, Securities, Security, Trust Token, New Fund, PrefLogic, Tokeny, Indiegogo, Templum, SharesPost, Spice, Series 1, and Smartlands. Now the next few I want to look at are more involved in the trading and exchange side of things, but as I said, there's a lot of overlap and many of these are hybrids. That's Bank to the Future, WeOwn, Mobu, Open Finance Network, T0, and Orderbook. Now these next few are coming from that more traditional background, and it's great to see some of these established stock exchanges or trading companies getting into this space as well. And that's BlockTrade, IronX, VNX, GBX, SIX, MSX, and Bancorus. Now the next couple I want to talk about, and this includes Bancorus, are those that have the custody solutions. That's BitGo and Primatrust. Now as I spoke about previously, there's a lot of overlap here. These companies would have partnered together with others that have the appropriate licenses, and every day we're seeing more announcements and partnerships. Recently we saw the Millbrook Accord, where industry giants gather together to build out this framework and standards for the security token industry. Some of these big companies you're going to recognize on this list, and I'll talk about them further in future. We then have established cryptocurrency trading exchanges which have shown a lot of interest getting into this space, and they include Huobi, Poloniex, OKX, Kraken, Coinbase, and Binance. We then move on to these trading exchange underlying protocols that allow for the trading of all these tokens, and they include AirSwap, Bancor, Kyber, Radar Relay, Dusk Network, and the 0x protocol, and dark pools like Republic Protocol. We then have these projects which have had on their roadmap from day dot the trading and listing of these individual tokens, or mosaics as some of them are calling them. And that includes projects like Qtum, Neo, NEM, and Ethereum, which I'll discuss later. Next thing I want to talk about is a very special project which I've covered a number of times now, and that's DYDX, which is this underlying protocol for decentralized margin trading and derivatives. I think this one still has not got the recognition it deserves. The next one I want to talk about is Powerledger, and I don't think this has got the recognition it deserves yet on the global stage. With G20 countries around the world all talking about reducing their carbon footprint, moving to renewables, the fact that investors will be able to get involved and build these assets out and benefit from their profitability is absolutely huge. Their asset germination program is something that could be adopted by governments the world over, and I'm so looking forward to being involved in this space and seeing them progress. The final one that I just wanted to mention was Ethereum. I think everyone's writing Ethereum off as it's dead, ICOs are dead. Think about all those standards that are being made by the individual projects or the open source Ethereum developers. All these standards for security tokens and their functionality are being built on Ethereum. I think this could be a huge boom. Yes, the ICO raising has died down, but a lot of these projects are going to utilize Ethereum or the Ethereum token standards to build their projects on top of, and that means they're going to be built on this Ethereum open source public blockchain technology. So in summary, guys, this is a very exciting space. A lot of people are saying this is going to replace the trading on stock markets around the world. I don't know if it's going to go that far. I definitely think this is going to be different to the ICO boom of last year, a far more mature space. But I actually think we're going to have a move back towards the ICO in some regards, because regulators are going to clamp down too much and shut down a lot of the ideals and benefits of the blockchain, of that original crowdfunding ICO idea. So I actually believe we're going to find a happy medium a year or two from now, and that's going to improve the efficiency of getting these good ideas from entrepreneurs to the market. Now, I do plan on covering the individual projects in far more detail in future. And if you've enjoyed this video and want to keep the conversation going, head over to nuggetsnews.com.au and join our crypto community. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share these videos around, and thanks for tuning in. Cheers.